qua siamo dentro, quindi non si può
Sì,
stare.
nascosta dietro la siepe.
Раз.
Na razie to trzeba było wcześniej zobaczyć. A nie, za 2 minuty przed startem okazuje się, że będzie trochę.
Panie i panowie, już za niecałe 2 minuty rozpoczniemy na hipodromie dnia 14 Pułku Ułamek Jazłowieckich w Morawie pod Strzegomem najbardziej wymagającą próbę terenową Mistrzostw Europy we wszechstronnym konkursie konia wierzchowego w kategorii pony. A próba terenowa rozgrywana będzie na
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the cross-country phase of the European Championships for eventing the ponies. 2 days of dressage. This afternoon, though, it is cross-country action, and it's just not myself, Spencer Sturmey, that will be guiding you through the cross-country this afternoon. We're joined in the comfort of our own home. It's Hannah Robson. Hannah, hi to you as well.
Hi, good afternoon, Spencer. Yes, really looking forward to this. It should be a really exciting competition. Lots of horses to watch, lots of really exciting talents heading to the course. And of course, in the lead after the dressage phase, we have the French team. 77.7 is their total score after the dressage phase, and they're then followed by Germany, Ireland, Denmark and the Netherlands in 5th.
Yeah, very close in the team competition. Of course, the individual competition is being led by May Rinaldi, Boston de Verdon, 23.2. Merle Hoffman in silver for Germany, Penny Lane, and then in the bronze it is Mathieu Cuomo and Celeste de Montier in the bronze medal position, 26.4. The first to go, and it is all eyes on our first to go for Ireland. Ted O'Leary riding Rock on Pedro, 29 with the dressage, and he is away.
FEI Pony European Championships in eventing.
Well, the distance around the track, 3,440 metres. The optimum time, 7 minutes and 1 second.
With a tempo of 520 meters per minute.
So that optimum
time is 6 minutes and 37
well, in fact, it's
seconds.
6:37. That has changed since the original posting, and there's 24 numbered fences, 32 jumping efforts on this track. And Hannah, this is going to be a real test, isn't it, the whole way round?
Absolutely. These European Championships are really the pinnacle of the pinnacle of the sport, and this is really what these riders have been working towards. Ted now just approaching the 3rd fence, but he led in the dressage for quite a while, first out, and as you say, score of 29.0. And it took a little while for any other riders to be able to catch him in the dressage phase. But of course, yesterday we did see a few more riders going sub 30, and things would be really tight, especially, as you say, with that optimum time making all the difference.
Yeah, certainly will. 6 minutes 37 seconds. Remember, every second over the optimum time incurring 0.4 of a time penalty. It's 20 jumping penalties if they have a run out or a refusal. A second refusal at the same fence means that it's 40, 20 for the first, 40 for the second, and then the third refusal is elimination. There are flags out there. There are also frangible pins and mim clips, and we'll explain about those as we go on throughout the competition. But our trailblazer for Ireland, Ted O'Leary and Rock on Pedro, 29 dressage. He was in 8th place after the dressage, and as Hannah said, he led for a long time. But then they came thick and fast when they did. The first combination comes up quite early, but this is quite a big test. And it was here in the European Championships a couple of years ago, caused a little bit of trouble then, but no trouble at all for Ted as he eyes up that fence and jumps beautifully through. That'll give a lot of people back at the start some confidence.
Yes, really beautifully through that first combination, as you say, and Ted really getting his foot down. He's got his eye on the time. It will be influential, but you can see they're really powering away from the fences.
Yeah, wasting very little time as he lands after his fence, and that is where you really make up a lot of valuable seconds and keep those seconds in the bank, because 3,440 metres travelling on average 520 metres per minute. It is a quick cross-country speed, and he will have minute markers out there on the cross-country. They would have wheeled the course beautifully out over the corner, but it's not over because then they jump those two barrels. It's a job in itself, jumping the first two elements, jumping the left-handed corner, but then you've got the two barrels as well. Minute markers all around the course. He'll be keeping an eye on his watch the whole way.
Yeah, beautifully through there, taking some really precise lines. That combination wasn't going to be a problem for Ted, and rock on Pedro.
Well, the Irish are very good on the cross country as our second away, representing Italy, per Italia. It is Leopoldo Petrini with Camelot Damgard, 37 the dressage, and they were in 40th place after the first phase. The Italians strong cross country.
Yeah, really strong cross-country. As you say, Leopoldo's on a score of 37. The Italian team currently lying in 6th. Their total score as a team is 96.6. But they do have a number of riders with lower scores than Leopoldo. They have some that will surely be really competitive. And Ted O'Leary just beautifully through the water there. Again, not posing any problems for this combination at this stage.
We just go back to the Italian, and looking like he's pulling on quite strong, Camelot Damgard, just jumping through the oxer and brush fences in the early stages. Ted O'Leary and Rock-on Pedro making their way back towards home. And unfortunately, I've lost my picture. Hannah, have you lost yours?
Yes, unfortunately,
yep. We'll try and get that back as soon as we can. But Ted O'Leary looking like already he's up on the clock, and that optimum time, 6 minutes 37. It's very close in the team standings, and that is where we've got to just keep an eye on the scores, because unlike the Olympic Games, this is European Championships. There is a drop score for in a team in most of the team's circumstances, and there is a drop score, Hannah.
Yes, exactly, a drop score. And for Ireland at the moment, Sarah Keane is the drop score with 37.1. But as they pick up time penalties, potentially, as they try and jump clear around this course, around this European Championship course, the scores will surely add up, and the riders may be picking up more penalties around the course, and so that drop score, of course, could change.
Having quite a tough time out there, Leopoldo Petrini and Camelot Damgard. He's really pulling, which makes his job hard, and he'll find it difficult in this combination with this left-handed corner. There just scoots around and down he goes. Well, that is elimination. It is one fall and you're out, unfortunately, and the Italian hits the deck. But good to see that he is up pretty quickly. It was a fairly soft fall.
Yeah, and Ted O'Leary there, the horse just slipping a little bit on the corners. He really has got the pace up, and perhaps just taking those corners quite tightly. Of course, his eye is on the time. But yes, he is now the only rider out on the course. Leopoldo Petrini, sadly, parting ways with Camelot Damgard.
And a reminder that these ponies, as well as the horses, but the ponies will have studs in, a little bit like a footballer's boot, but they'll have studs in the shoes to give them a little bit of extra grip on the course. But still, it is quite slippery. Well, this is the French combination. This is Valentin Coutet-Elsan and winner 2, 35.5 dressage in 35th place after the first phase.
Yes, and 35.5 the dressage, as you say, for Valentin Coutet-Elsan. And that is currently the drop score for the French team. Their other riders are on 23.2, 26.4 and 28.1.
Well, that was one of the last real tests out on the course for Ted O'Leary as he scoots towards home, and he'll stop the clock and look at the crowds at the finish. They are cheering him home as he jumps the very last fence. We'll try and get his time to you as quickly as we can.
Yeah, super round for Ted. And Valentin is the next rider around this course, just flying over that brush fence. Not a problem for them.
No, looking really confident. The French certainly have their own style of riding, and you can spot a French rider from a mile away, as you can from many of the nations. They have quite an upright way of riding, but I think it's a really good one because they're not on the pony's back, they're not on the horse's back, they're giving them all the freedom they need, and it's just the way that they ride, and I think it's a really effective way of cross-country riding.
And of course it allows them to use their upper body to maintain the balance, to help the horse to balance around these fences. Of course, if there's a drop fence potentially into the water, then keeping the upper body more upright will help with the balance.
Not hanging around, absolutely flying.
Yeah, another rider that's definitely got their eye on the time. They don't want to pick up too many more penalties. 35.5 is their dressage score. And as Spencer says, they will know where these minute markers are that they've measured around the course when they walked it earlier. So sitting in 35th place individually at the moment, Valentin Quitet-Eslan. Riding as the trailblazer for the French team, their first rider out on course.
Yeah, just trying. Oh, here we go. Just trying to get the time in. Now at fence 21A. Not sure where that was, Hannah, but Ted O'Leary picked up 20 penalties for Ireland.
Yep, looks like Ted and Rock-On Pedro just having a problem at the A element of fence 21.
Yeah, picked up 20 jumping penalties and over the time allowed as well. They finished in 7 minutes and 3 seconds. So he completes the cross country. Of course, then Leopoldo Petrini, he had that fall at fence 11. So we have got two horses out on course, and we are eyes on the French combination, Valentin Quitet-Eslan and winner two as they go through the water.
Yeah, not wasting any time through the water there with winner two. They're at 4 minutes, heading to fence 16 now. And there's plenty of space around this course for the riders to try and make up the time in between the fences. But of course, they really won't want to waste any valuable seconds going around the combinations.
Absolutely. Well, it was 20 jumping, 10.4 time for Ted O'Leary. He completes on 59.4. And that, so far, is the, of course, score to beat with the only one home. But nearly home is the French combination. They've impressed on the cross-country, Hannah, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Really precise riding, really well balanced. Really just taking all of the tight lines, just not wasting any, we're not wasting any time, not wasting a moment, but all of the lines are really precise and it's just really confidently ridden. As you say, this French team, experienced eventing riders, experienced across the country. And we now have a new starter on the course. This is Ella Kruger. German rider Ella Kruger with Golden Grove Simon. Their dressage score 31.2. Has them in 16th individually.
But very much these riders riding to team orders, especially the Trailblazers and the first to go in each of the teams, they'll be riding to team orders. Oh! Well, that was at fence 11, just ducking out to the left-hand side. And you can see that those little horses there, the wooden horses, they are an island fence and going inside those to the corner. And we saw with the Italian rider that sadly fell there, Leopoldo Petrini, he went outside, and you've got to get your line right to that corner.
Yeah, and the horse almost actually jumped those little decorative elements with the French rider, and just seemed to kind of get his feet.
With the Italian rider, yeah.
The Italian rider, yes.
Yeah, he did, absolutely. But it's a very easy fence just to slip out to the outside. But home safely. They're going to pick up a few time penalties, are they? 6 minutes, 37 seconds is the optimum time. They've jumped clear, the French rider.
Jumped clear, and he looks thrilled with that performance, punching the air over the finish line. And as you say, Ella Kruger just going around another of those little wooden horse elements, but really nicely through that combination as well.
Well, the time in for Valentin Quitet Aslan and winner 2, they were round in a time of 6 minutes 23 seconds, well inside the optimum time of 6:37. So they complete on their dressage score 35.5. Great start for the French.
And yes, just confirming the 20 penalties at fence 11A for Ella Kruger for Germany. But we now have Ivy van der Kolk riding Robin Hood for the Netherlands. Ivy, another rider, definitely with her eye on the time, heading at a really good pace down through this course. 34.5 was their dressage score, and that has them in 31st place. But a couple of refusals and unfortunately one elimination already on this course. Only 5 competitors have started, and we said that the time would be really influential, but clearly there may be some problems with the jumping as well, Spencer.
Yeah, fence 11, that's certainly the one that's caught majority of the riders out so far. One inside the time, of course, and then Ted O'Leary, who picked up those 20 penalties right towards the end of the track. But Ivy van der Kolk going really well with Robin Hood flying out over that brush fence. Really good in her upper body position, just slipped the reins and kept her shoulders back to make sure that when Robin Hood hit the ground, that she was in a perfect balance and making sure that he stood upright and that there were no troubles there. Well, further problems for Ella Kruger. They picked up 20 penalties at 15B as well. So they're carrying 40 jumping. She needs to jump home clear from here on in.
Yeah, and just keeping the balance over those drop fences will really help the riders.
Ooh, no. Well, pike twist and down she comes. That was very sadly a fall for Ivy van der Kolk and Robin Hood at 11. So again, that first element playing its part.
And the other competitors are sure to be hearing about these problems at fence 11. It'll be an influential fence. It'll be the one to watch at the moment. Yeah,
it certainly will. Well, taking the slightly longer but safer route at the water, Ella Kruger and Golden Grove Simon, as Selma Kvarnstrand is away with Woody's Girl. Woody's Girl bringing forward a dressage score 35.1 in 34th place, representing Sweden.
Yeah, the Swedish team sitting in 7th. Their team total is 101.7, so they are a little way behind the leaders. 77.7, of course, the current team leading score for France.
Yeah, and that certainly wouldn't have done them any harm with Valentin going round clear inside the time. That was the drop score, though, 35.5. It'll be interesting as the day unfolds because it's been influential. We've only had a few riders round, one clear inside the time, and certainly the penalties are racking up with the others. And remember, first team riders out, and they are very important team riders because they come back and feed information back to the chef de keeps, back to the other team members, and just tell everybody how it's riding, if it's slippy, if it's not riding quite as they walked, because sometimes the sunlight is influential, sometimes the weather conditions play a major part. But these guys for Sweden absolutely flying. Selma is looking really confident, Hannah, in the beginning of the course.
Absolutely. Really confident riding, really nice forward approach. Just,
Ooh, well, I
oh,
think that's it. I think that is now third elimination out on course, and it will be elimination for Ella Kruger and Golden Grove Simon. That is a real shame.
yeah, it's a real shame. 31.2 was a great dressage score, but unfortunately it wasn't to be their day. 3 refusals, of course, will result in elimination, so not the best start for the German team. But Selma Kvarnstrand here just steadily through that combination, just perhaps taking a little bit more of a conservative approach, but it's obviously important that these fences are cleared
And
efficiently.
Woody's girl wouldn't look the fastest. We've seen a number of ponies out there, and Woody's girl wouldn't have the biggest ground covering canter, and certainly was very lucky at those triple rails. And they are on a mim clip, so if they do hit it, it will collapse. But not the biggest striding, but you know, it is the slow and safe gets you home.
Yeah, and I think that's the approach that Selma Kvarnstrand is obviously taking. The combination actually also competed here in June. They did jump double clear, but they did pick up some cross-country time penalties.
I think that's going to be the case again today out there, isn't it? But do you know, getting a pony home clear in a team situation, and as we've seen, it's causing lots and lots of trouble. If she can get home clear and she can just come home with a few time penalties, that is better than a 20 or not coming home at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, for some of these riders, it will be their first European Championships. And she just has a little run out.
Another one. We were just saying,
So
that's almost
frustrating.
commentator's curse, isn't it? We were just saying, get home safely, get home steadily, pick up a few time pots, then 20 jumping.
20 to add for the Swedish rider at the water. The horse just didn't quite lock onto that fence, did it? And I think, obviously, because they were taking a little bit of a steadier approach, just allowed the horse time to duck out to the side.
Yeah, Emily Nielsen, Denmark's rider now. Odden's replay. And it's interesting, Hannah, I don't know about you. I mean, I've been out to Strzegom a number of times, whether it be for the Pony Europeans or Senior Europeans. And I've also competed here as well. But there's a lot of fences. And when you're going around the track, even with the ponies, there are a number of fences that they could lock onto that you almost have to pull them off of.
Yeah, I think, as you say, there are quite a lot of fences, quite a lot of different courses, and sometimes the ponies just look and they're saying to the riders, "Come on, tell me which way we're going, which one."
Long routes here.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Just taking a little bit of a conservative approach there, just making sure that they clear the fences. As you say, a few time penalties is always better than a 20 for a refusal.
And that's exactly what Selma is bringing home with her 20 jumping penalties. She's about to come back to the water for the final time. Big drop in for this little pony. And remember, these ponies, they're all measured before they start the competition, and they're 149 and under. 148 is maximum height. 14.2 in old money. They're little. And of course, they don't just come here off the back of nothing. They have to have qualified. They have to meet minimum eligibility requirements, MERs as they're known, and they have to qualify, of course, by nation, by rider, by pony, doing competitions to get here.
Yeah, just taking a look here at Emily Nielsen Odden's replay. Again, just making sure that the pony doesn't have any problems there. But I think it's going to be an expensive time as well for Selma Kvarnstrand. The pony just having a little look there before he pops into the water. But of course, there's no penalties for that. No penalties for just taking the time to have a look. So long as they do then jump the fence, that big drop fence into the water. And as you say, Spencer, they are ponies. And it's incredible what these ponies can do. You know, when we were watching the show jumping even yesterday, 1 meter 30, the course is there. And these fences around this cross-country course looking at the triple bar there, they are bold. They do need bold riding, but the ponies and the riders are so talented at this European Championship level, aren't they?
Oh, they really are. And watching them jump round these tracks, and if you're thinking about height-wise, it's like a big novice track in the UK. So 1 meter 10, 1 meter 15 in places with a brush on as well. They can be big, imposing-looking fences. That was we just caught sight there of Paula Escalante Gomez, who starts off with Disney for Spain. Ooh, sit up.
Oof.
Oh, lucky moment.
We nearly saw a splash in the water there. That's not something that the riders will want. That's definitely don't want to be heading in there. And what's this route that she's just taking now?
Well, I'm not sure whether she went to take the direct route out and couldn't get there or not. We'll have to keep an eye on the board, because as we look here, she does go the quick route and then pulls. Oh, there is 20 penalties. So she's been slow and safe the whole way round. But Emily Nielsen, Odden's replay, they just pick up the 20 penalties there. That at 15B, is that 15 and 16 there, the water? That was a shame, because they've been really careful and meticulous in their long route jumping to get themselves home, hopefully with that clear. But it was 15B that she picks up the 20 penalties.
Yeah, and of course, now that these first riders have been out on the course, when they feed back that information to their teammates and to the chef d'équipes, I think we'll see quite a few people heading out on the course later in the day, perhaps taking the longer routes and just taking a bit of a steadier option just to try and jump clear around the course.
Well, still, Hannah, we've only had one clear, and that is the French rider, Valentin Quidet Eslan, and winner 2 clear inside the time. Made it look easy too.
Yeah, and of course this is the 8th rider now out, and as you say, only 1 clear inside the time, with 8 already having started the course. Several refusals, lots of 20 penalties being picked up, and of course 3 eliminations already.
Yeah, it is 3 eliminations, and as you said, one clear inside the time, but it's still only 1 clear cross country. Paula is the other clear so far, but Paula's also picked up 20 penalties out on course, and here they are. It is at the corner, another one to full foul of the corner, so there is still no clears. Wow. It's causing its trouble.
And do you think that the course designer will be looking at this and thinking, oh, I've really set a strong challenge here? How many clears do you think they will be aiming for?
Clears, you'd be looking at around the 60-70% mark. Inside the time, you'd probably want 10% and lower. You want it to be a proper championship track, and it is a championship track. Look, we've seen a few go out of the start box, and we've seen a few run out at the corner. We've seen a few part company. They'll be learning, they'll be watching, they'll not be taking this course for granted, because I'm sure what happens is when you walk the course, you're slightly lulled into a false sense of security that the course is possibly a little bit easy, it doesn't walk as tough, but that news will be getting fed back through the systems, through the teams, through the chef d'équipes, and they will be now learning as we just go to Lynn-Marie Schutter and Rathcline Dream, 29.2, the dressage in 9th place after dressage. But that will all be getting fed back now, Hannah, all that news.
Yeah, all be getting fed back. That, of course, this is a really difficult course. And the riders obviously are experienced, as you say. They have had to qualify, they have had to meet those minimum qualifications. But it's all different, when they're at these championships. It's a big environment, it's a big occasion. And no matter how many times they've practiced these lines, no matter how many times they've tried to replicate this in their training, just the big occasion of the European Championships can really affect things.
Yeah, totally. And it's a big occasion, as you say. It's a massive platform for a lot of these riders, and it's almost, if not, it is their Olympic. Oh no. It is their Olympic Games, it's their badminton, it's their Burley coming to a European Championships. A lot of these riders as well in their very first European Championships. Oh! Well, that is her third refusal out on course, an elimination, because she obviously picked up the 15 penalties earlier on as well at fence 11. So that is sadly elimination for the Spanish rider, Paula Escalante Gomez.
Yeah,
It's
really
all
unfortunate
happening.
there. Really unfortunate. The horse just really didn't want to set off into the water.
No, it certainly didn't.
Another new starter now out on the course. This is Amelie Nottmeyer, and Amelie rides for Germany, another German rider out on course with Kathleen 3. Their dressage score is 33.5. It's not the drop score at the moment for the German team, but of course we'll have to see how they fare around the course.
And it's also worth remembering that these are pony riders, and the age restriction on these guys is 11 to, is it 15, the pony riders?
15, 16.
Yeah. I mean, they're very young. And I think we're getting asked that a few questions on YouTube. People think these are 16 to 21. No, they're 11 to 16, because then also there's the overlap between, because you can actually compete juniors as well, but you can only compete in one European. You can compete as a junior, but you can only do one European Championship, be that as a pony or a junior, and that is up to you really. 11 to 16 is the age limit, and we saw in the dressage, pure dressage, 11 years old, and I'm sure there are some 11-year-olds out there in the event field as well, Hannah. Yep.
Yeah, I would have thought so. I think, as you say, it's an age range, and so as long as they've got the experience, as long as they are confident at this level, then they can compete here. And a lot of these riders have been doing the pony 2-star competitions.
Yeah.
Which really sets them up for a course like this. No problems there, into the water.
No, and it's easy to look at these riders and just think that they are adults. And I was commentating on the dressage and saying that it looks like, it's a mini Isabel Wert, it's a mini Karl Hester, and these look like mini Julia Krajewskis or mini Mikael Jungs, Mark Todds, William Fox-Pitts. Stars of the future. They really are mini stars of the future.
Yeah, watching these pony Europeans, you really do just think how incredible these riders are and how incredible they'll be in years to come, in the pony competitions, in the young rider competitions, and then of course when they continue their careers into the senior competitions. But the talent that we can see here, I mean, it's a really difficult course, but they're tackling it as well as they possibly can, not only focusing on the jumping efforts, but also on the time, gaining incredibly valuable experience.
What I love more than anything about this sport, and especially with the ponies, are these ponies go through year in, year out, and they support family after family after family, whether it be the same nation or a brother or a sister, or then moving to a totally different family. We had one pony in the dressage that had been to 8 European Championships and was 17 years old, and I think with 4 different riders, had given 4 different riders the experience of going to European Championships. And this is what these ponies do. Unlike the horses that pretty much stay with the riders the whole way through their career, these ponies give so much to so many people.
Yeah, as you say, I mean, in the show jumping yesterday, you could see that there were a number of ponies who'd been ridden by either members of different teams or by siblings, or it's the ponies that have also got a lot of experience here. But of course, despite the ponies' experience, the riders do still have to do the steering, get the right strides to the fences, and pilot these ponies around the course. Taking a bit of a flyer to those ones.
Well, that was Renzo Laffer for the Netherlands, just jumping through their Wolfenhof's Nester, 37.8 dressage. Here he comes, and these two They've started off, and it's a little bit like but Ginny Elliott has taught me for years and years and years, Ginny Lang, Ginny Holgate as she was, and she says at the first few fences you've got to keep putting money in the bank, because at some point you might just have to give them the odd fiver and say thanks very much, you got me out of trouble there. And that's what these two look like they're doing at the beginning. They're just saying, okay, look, this is where we are, this is how we're feeling, now let's get going.
Yeah, it's about building the confidence around those first fences, and usually the first few are relatively straightforward, aren't they? But of course that combination does come up quite quickly in this course. Just seeing Amelie Notmeyer here taking a bit of a longer route through the water. It just gets a little bit close to that fence, but there you go, back through the water now before heading out the other side. And that was really neatly through there.
Yeah, obviously deciding that discretion was the better part of valor there, and taking a longer route, being slightly safer as we come back down the course. And there's another one. And do you know what I think they're doing there, Hannah, is they're just jumping the first barrels, and the ponies are looking far too much at those island obstacles, those little horses, and taking their eye off the fence, concentrating too much on that and not the corner.
Of course, with any corner fences, it's so important to keep a really straight line, a really tight line. But as you say, I think they are just... Oof, is that a second refusal there?
Well, let's hope not. He's coming now to the last part of that combination at 11. Frustrating, really frustrating.
But that is the fence that's catching them all out so far. Quite quickly around the corner there, Amelie Notmeyer, and we did see a couple of horses just slipping on the corners a little bit. As you say, they obviously will all have their studs in to try and avoid that. But perfectly through that double of brushes.
And very quickly through there as well.
Really confidently ridden.
Just over the final fence, just pecks on landing, manages to keep the landing gear up, and she stops the clock, and we're going to catch up on her score very shortly.
Yeah, huge pats for the pony for taking the rider around this course. And of course, these ponies are so incredibly well cared for as well, aren't they? You know, the level of welfare and the attention to detail with them, especially when they finish this cross-country course. It's warm weather, but they are in the peak of their top condition. Oh, just has a little look at that fence as well. And I think a new starter out on course is number 12. This is Kiva Crozier for Ireland with Kildromin Banjo. Sitting in 7th place after the dressage with 28.9. It was a really good dressage test. And it took us a little while in the dressage to have very many riders posting a sub-30 score, but in the afternoon yesterday we did see more and more of them.
I haven't disappeared. I'm just trying to find, because I don't know about you, but the cross-country course has disappeared on screen. The scoreboard, has it disappeared for you as well?
No, I do have the scoreboard here, but I can see that it's just not quite updating too quickly.
Yeah, I think there's just a little bit of a problem there, but we'll keep you up to speed. I was just trying to find out if we had a time in for Amelie Notmeyer and Kathleen 3, but we'll stay with Renzo Laffer, Wolfenhof's Nesta at the water, and he is taking the more direct route out over that arrowhead, putting those 20 penalties. Now let's see what the Irish combination do. They are going long.
Yeah, and I think that's a sensible choice at this
Word's
fence.
definitely getting back on the street, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They've obviously seen the problems that have happened at this fence previously. Ooh, just so despite taking the long route, just a bit of a difficult one there at those final barrels.
Yeah, that was a lucky moment, and it's almost one of those things where you think, got away with it, and then you go to the longer route, and then it just go straight out the window and you just get a bit blasé, but you need to keep your A game the whole way through.
Yeah, this course really doesn't offer any opportunity to take your eye off the ball. All of the fences. Oof!
Oh, no! Oh, what a shame. Oh, he was going so well as well.
It was going so well, but just managed to fall off just on the other side of the water. But no, that's another combination unfortunately eliminated. Ooh, oh dear.
Well, that looks like Anne Koenigracht, and she has run into problems early on in the cross country.
Yep, our latest starter with Cantias Irlando. But unfortunately, picking up 20 penalties really early on, and that's really not what the riders want, is it? As if they have these 20 penalties early in the course, you know, it really does affect the confidence for the later fencers. Kiva Crozier going really well there, though. Yeah, just picking up the pace, just eye on the time as well as on the fences. And as they make their way around the course, they obviously will know where their minute markers are. They will have measured this. They will have walked the course with the wheel, and they'll know at what point they need to be hitting various different minutes. The time will be influential, but at the moment, it's the jumping efforts that are really influential. We've had a lot of problems. Fence 11 causing a lot of the problems at this early stage. Still only one horse, one combination clear inside the time. That was the French rider, Valentin.
I think he's been the only clear as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's the only clear, but he did go clear inside the time, and I don't think we'll see very many of those at this rate.
No, and we've not seen many apart from. I know you say that he's clear inside the time. We haven't seen any other clears either, and they are definitely few and far between, and it is causing enough trouble out there. It is a proper championship track, and let's hope that. And it's a little bit like buses. Once you have the one clear, then it can start giving people a little bit of confidence. And let's hope that we start seeing some of those now as we move into what will be the second rotation of team riders, and hopefully we'll get that confidence level back up, because it's a nerve-wracking few moments, especially back at the stables, back at the lorry park, or back at the start for a lot of the connections.
At this fence here, you can see that the riders have to jump that first quite narrow house-shaped fence and then go up a slope, turning back and then to the second part of the combination, running down the slope. And of course, as they run down the slope, those undulations will also really affect things. They have to really keep a straight line to the narrow fences. They have to really get the ponies to lock on. Oof, just difficult jump out there of the water, but they do stay together. That's Arne Koenigracht. Number 14, Carla Sacchetti is our next starter. Carlotta riding for Italy. And currently on a score of 32 after the dressage phase. That has them in 19th at the moment. And the Italian team, of course, in 5th. But can Carlotta give us our next clear? It would be our second clear round. Only one clear so far.
I'm just trying to go back down the leaderboard. I'm not sure whether Limery Schluter, did she jump clear with Rathklein Dream as well, the German rider?
Yes, I think she did.
So I think we have now had the 2 clear rounds on the cross country. Just waiting for the scoreboard to update. Seems to have gone to sleep at the moment.
Yeah, I think Lynn-Marie Schluter completed a few moments ago, but we are just waiting for confirmation of their clear round. Another rider taking the longer route here at fence 11, the fence that's been causing so many problems. And it's a real shame for Arne Koenegracht to have that, to pick up those 20 penalties early in the course, because they're going really well now.
Yeah, let's hope the Italian can do that as well as she rounds the corner onto the, just about to say onto the mound fence. It's interesting the line that a number of these riders are taking. They're jumping up there really well and just making sure that they are tight, because you can waste valuable seconds on the top of the mound.
Yeah, and there are some undulations in this course, but there's a lot of quite flat galloping stretches between the fences, but they do come up quickly. Oof, just pecks on landing. Ooh! Very lucky to stay together as a combination there. A lot of encouragement. The pony really helping her out.
Well, you need a bit of luck in this game, and she certainly had it there.
Absolutely. This is Peter Schmidt, Peter riding for Germany, with Sietland's Katrina. Second rider out on the course for them.
Is this not a French rider? This is a French girl, isn't it?
Oh, sorry, I think we're looking at a different thing, actually, Spencer. But yes, I'm now looking at Zoe Ballot.
Okay.
She's riding for France, yes. The French team in the lead at the moment. And Zoe on a really good dressage score of 28.1.
So just to make sure, because we're obviously in different parts of the country, that I've got a Italian jumping into the water over a log.
Yes, Carlotta Sacchetti, I'm now with,
okay,
coming
good.
out of the water.
So back with the French rider. Just setting up for this influential. Is she going to jump the corner? Yes, she is. And nicely done. Very good.
Yeah, really well. Clear through there, and they power away from the fence, just not wasting any time. Of course, the first French rider was our first clear.
Yeah, and I think the scoreboard is now updating, and we can let you know actually that Lynn-Marie Schluter did have 20 jumping penalties, 2.8 time, and the other clear that we've had is the Irish girl with Kildremin Banjo. She jumped clear, 10.4 time penalties, 39.3. She goes into second place currently on 39.3. And two out there, Zoe Ballot and Carlotta Sacchetti, the Italian and the French rider. French rider we have now with us, coming to the water pretty quickly in. Whoa. Are you there, Hannah?
Yes, hi Spencer.
You are
I'm
there.
just also looking at this.
Okay, so Peter Schmidt catching up with her in the early stages. Ooh, just taking a stride out there. Peter, who was lying in 33rd place, 34.9 with Sietland's Katrina. back up course with Zoe Bello and Voltaire de Lalonde at 16 AB.
Yeah, Zoe's going really well so far with this talented pony.
She's been quick too, hasn't she?
Very quick. And we said that a lot of the riders would be feeding information back to their teammates just so that they can decide what approach to take, decide which long routes to take. But Zoe Bello taking the direct routes so far, taking the direct route at that really influential fence 11. And again, we were just commenting on the French style of riding with the earlier rider. And this is another rider that's really keeping the upper body back, keeping upright. It really helps the pony's balance, especially down these drop fences like the one that we've just seen going into the water. So Zoe Bello now coming again to the water.
She's been quick. I'd be interested to see her time because she certainly hasn't hung around. She's on 5 minutes and 54 seconds now as she heads towards home. And that now is looking really easy. Peter Schmidt, who just jumps through the corner fence at 11. You would never think that we'd had so many problems there, Hannah, earlier on.
Yeah, it's riding really well for these latest two riders. And, you know, as you say, sometimes when one rider jumps well around the course, then that can spark off a little flurry of them.
Yeah, it certainly has. And, you know, confidence breeds confidence. And Zoe just coming to the penultimate fence. She's just got one fence left to jump. 6 minutes and 37 seconds is the optimum time. She's not going to be a million miles away. And this will be a great result for the French. And they're all there at the finish to cheer her home.
Ooh.
Whoa!
Big flying leap over that fence.
Yeah, that was Sophie Weening for the Netherlands as Peter Schmidt and Zetland's Katrina coming down to the water. Big brush in over this fence into the water.
But they've also been quick on the time. Peter really taking the time to give the pony a big pat after these combinations, I notice.
Yeah, here comes Hip Hop.
30.4 was their 30.4 was their dressage. They're in 12th place. But yes, the pony is looking strong, and that will be making Sophie Wiening's task a little more difficult. Just fighting a little bit. She really needs to maintain the control to get those tight lines, to make sure that the accuracy is there. They need to keep straight to a lot of these fences, not least for the corner fence. If they decide to take the direct route there. But Peter Schmidt also going well. Just again getting quite strong. Peter just having to steady there, ready for the water. But keeping a nice straight line there. It's a really positive approach through the water and nice and straight to the jump out and makes it look easy.
Made it look very easy indeed. And Sophie Wiening and Hip Hop still pulling hard. And it will be making her job very difficult, especially here at a turning fence. But she just locks on, and this pony so keen and literally says, "Show me the money," and gets on with it and points between the flags and away they go.
Yeah, really experienced pony as well. But yes, it was quite a brave choice with the pony pulling so much to take the direct route there, having seen so many problems at that fence, but it's not a problem for them. And I think, as you say, the pony really knows its job, really just says, point me in the right direction and I'll head around the course, just still really pulling.
Just see the look on this pony's face. Sometimes it can work in your favour when they know what they're doing and want to get on with the job, but also there's got to come a point where they listen to you, because not always do they know what's best. And it's interesting watching these ponies go round here, how keen they are to get on with the job and just basically ignoring the riders. But they've got to listen. They've got to adjust, and I always talk about adjustability and trainability and all the abilities that go on around. As we just catch up there with Julia Oskarsson and Malibu, absolutely flying around the early parts of the course. And interesting, we just heard from Louise Birchall-Brooks, who says great young riders aiming for the Olympics, and this is the very first step, and this is a proper European Championship track, and it's giving these riders an amazing experience.
Oof, just pecks on landing a little bit there, but they do keep the balance. That's Sophie Vening and Hip Hop. But yeah, it's a great experience for them, and heading to these championships will just be the pinnacle of their careers so far, but it'll really set them up for the years to come.
Absolutely. He's cool, isn't he, Hip Hop? Brilliant.
Yeah, super cool pony. He really knows his job. But again, you know, as you say, the pony was pulling a little bit earlier, but seems to be listening a little bit more now. And here, Julia Oskarsson just struggling to get Malibu back listening to her a little bit there.
Yeah, I think now Hip Hop has got into his groove, and he's saying, okay, right, I've sort of got a few cobwebs, I've blown a few cobwebs out, I will listen, I will turn, I will do what you're asking. But we just caught sight there of Julia Oskarsson, who is struggling with Malibu. Here they come now, down to this barrel corner combination. She'll want some control here, Hannah, otherwise they could run into trouble.
Yeah, this is a fence that's been so influential so far,
Going
and
long.
I think, yeah, going long, and I think that's a sensible decision. The pony is pulling, and I think being able to just jump a much wider fence there rather than tackling the corner with the pony's attitude as it is definitely the right choice.
Yeah, it's never the easiest thing to do sometimes either, taking a strong pulling pony or horse on a long route. But, you know, all that twisting and turning can sometimes upset just taking a chance at the last, but she is safely over. Sophie Vening and Hip Hop, lovely round for them.
But of course, as well, with the ponies pulling like this, it's quite a lot of wasted energy, really, isn't it? Especially for the rider and the pony. You know, they really need to be able to keep the energy levels up. It's a decent length of course. It's, you know, there's plenty of jumping efforts. They really do need to be keeping the energy up all the way around. And as they start pulling in the early stages, it's just not really what they want.
Julia obviously knows him very well, because they look very happy as a partnership out there on the cross country. And even though he's hard pulling, and Julia's arms might be 3 inches longer by the time she gets back to the finish, but they look like they're having fun. And even though I talk about quite a lot singing from the same hymn sheet, you could well be singing from the same hymn sheet, but you might be singing different languages. But they seem to know each other, and they trust each other, and she knows when to start taking a pull and when to let go, like she has done there, allowing her pony now to have a gallop and get a little bit of the energy out of the tank.
Yeah, it's just a really experienced pony as well, and actually he's always jumped clear cross country in his international career so far, so definitely knows his way around a cross country course. And in fact, you know, they've really got their foot to the floor as well, and I'd be surprised if they pick up too many time penalties as they're going at the moment. But the time allowed, of course, is 6 minutes and 37 seconds.
Yep.
Just looking here at Maiken Megleby Iversen, who rides for Denmark. And the Danish combination, it's an 8-year-old pony. So one of the younger ponies in the field. You know, we were saying earlier that a lot of these ponies are so experienced they've been taking a few different riders around these kinds of courses, but at 8, potentially a less experienced pony.
Yeah, totally. This is a proper, what I would call ginger ninja. I mean, he just looks like he is absolutely loving his job out there, Malibu, having the time of his life as the Danish rider. Again, I mean, you look back at that fence and just think, what was the problem? What was going wrong? Because they're all jumping it really rather well now.
Yeah, much better. I mean, takes the flag out, but of course no penalties for that. Just seeing Julia Oscarson, and I think they've really settled into it. But as you say, they're just really having the time of their lives. And generally, all of these ponies love the cross-country phase. You could see in the dressage, a few of them were very keen to get going. And of course, the dressage phase, so important to demonstrate the control, to demonstrate the balance, to demonstrate that adaptability that you were talking about, Spencer. But this is the phase that they really enjoy. This is the phase that they look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's you can almost feel the smile on Malibu's face as they go around the course, and they've got to want to do it. They've got to want to enjoy it. And you can see, absolutely flying through there. You'd hardly know there was water there. Brilliantly bold.
Yeah, really, really bold. Again, another combination, looking to be having a great time out around this course, and they've been jumping fantastically so far. Oh, I'm just not quite sure where this is the...
Yeah, what's happened here? Is that just a turny circle? I need to get some control back.
Yeah, perhaps just using a circle to steady there, but it's certainly not something that's required in the course.
No.
Ooh! This is Jimena Herrero Molina, Spanish rider.
I think she's just gone back to check that mim clip didn't go, so it is absolutely fine to re-jump. I think the nerves maybe have just got to her a little bit. I don't think they're going to be carrying on. I may be wrong, but I think the refusal and the upset there may have just tipped them over the edge, and that is easily done.
Yeah, absolutely. But of course, if the riders do retire, their scores, of course, it gives the team 3 riders left. They can drop a score, but if the riders opt to retire, then all the scores from their teammates will count.
Yeah.
Just puts a little bit more pressure on the other riders. But Mike and Megleby Iverson now tackling this water combination, and the combination looks like they've really settled into the round, don't they?
Yeah, they really do. The further on they've gone, I mean, they were so bold at the first water, but the further on they've gone, the more this pony has pricked his ears and just seems to be enjoying it more and more and more. And actually, I think the more she's asked, the better they've got.
Yeah, the further round that they've gone, they don't seem to be losing any energy. They seem full of running. Another French rider out on the course now. This is Ambroise Mandru. Ambroise riding Versailles des Morins. And they're on a dressage score of 34.7.
Yeah, and they've had a pretty good day so far. Their first rider clear inside the time. I'm afraid we're having further problems with the scoreboards at the moment. They're not refreshing and they're not keeping up to date. I don't know about you, Hannah, but I've been struggling with the website right the way through the week.
Yeah, I think it's just not updating too quickly. So we are trying to keep up to date with the scores, but
hey, we're bringing you live pictures, which is the best thing in the world.
And it's just fantastic to have these competitions back again. It's been such a difficult 18 months, but to be able to have the European Championships, to be able to see the ponies going around the cross country, it's just a wonderful thing to see, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. 46 combinations coming forwards for the cross country, and we are at rider 21 now, and that is the French rider, 21 of the 46, so we're very nearly halfway already. Where has that gone?
Time flies when you're having fun. No, but
Certainly does.
the time's flying for these riders as well. It's 6 minutes and 37 seconds is the optimum time. And we, when we set off on the course this morning, we did think that the time would be really influential, but actually we've seen a lot of jumping problems around the course as well. Fence 11 was extremely influential early on, but it seems to be riding a lot better now.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been. I have to say, when we first kicked off and we had the first few riders round, we didn't expect it to cause as many problems as it is. We were thinking more it was going to be a time issue rather than a jumping issue, but it's been both. It has been very, very brilliant in its championship track, and that is what it should be.
Yeah, it really should be a real test, and I think that it's a course that tests a number of different skills. It really requires the riders to have a lot of energy and impulsion, but also a lot of accuracy is required. Real precise riding is needed through the combinations, but they still need to be bold. Some of these fences are big, they are imposing, and especially when they jump into the water as well, the ponies really need to have a lot of confidence. The French rider going really well here again. The French team had a fantastic time in the team jumping competition yesterday as well. They were just head and shoulders above the next teams, hardly picking up any penalties across the 3 rounds of competition there. And here again, the French team extremely strong in the eventing.
Yeah, they are, and they're very strong all the way up through, whether it be the ponies, but they're strong in the juniors, they're strong in the young riders, they're strong at senior level, and they had an amazing Olympic Games again, and they are a force to be reckoned with. And watching these younger riders go round and remembering 11 to 15, that they learn so much at these lower levels, but this is a European Championship. It gives them championship experience to compete under pressure, to perform under pressure. And we've seen some amazing results from the British teams here as well, and they are the defending champions, not back to defend their title, of course. It's not the year of the British for the youth programs in 2021, but it gives then the likes of the French team, who are out in front after the dressage, a real opportunity to shine, and they are out there and they're grabbing it, Hannah, with both hands.
Yeah, they really, really are. They're all going extremely well, and seeing their good performances, that will give the other riders later in the day confidence to approach this course. And we did see a lot of riders taking the long routes at some of the combinations after we had seen quite a lot of problems, but now the French team especially, they're just going so well, and a lot more riders are taking the direct routes.
But maybe riding them slightly differently now, just taking a slightly wider line, giving them time, especially at that corner fence, giving themselves time to spot and work their way around the inside of that island fence, those little horse figurines on the floor.
Just watching Ambroise Mandroux for France tackling the course there, as you say, you really are struck by this is going to be a real talent for the future.
Yeah.
You can see them on championship teams at a senior level as well in the years to come.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we just stay with the Italian rider, and again we see very fine boned, we see slightly thicker set, we see lots of different types of breeding, and getting a growl over the fence on the top of the hill from Alfredo Negria Arnoldi, and they go on. And this is again part of what it's all about. You go back and have a look at the Tokyo Olympic Games, and the horse that won the individual gold in the dressage and that was the bronze. We look at the likes of Jessica von Breda-Vanderwaal's horse and the likes of Charlotte Desjardins' horse. One was literally 17.2. One was barely 16.1, 16.2. They come in all shapes and sizes, and that's what makes this sport so brilliant as well.
Yeah, hugely different. And of course, as you say, it's what makes the sport great. You can have any build of pony, any rider, male and female, just competing on an even pegging, of course, in all equestrian sports. And here these riders are between 11 and 16, so it's great experience for them. But I mean, it's still a decent age range, actually. The 16-year-old or 15-year-old riders have already picked up more experience. Just seeing the Italian rider head up the mound. Just a little bit of a steadier approach, but he's then just trying to save a bit of time getting away from the fence. But I wouldn't say that this is the fastest round we've seen. It's a little bit of a steadier approach. But it's the jumping that counts.
It is the jumping that counts. And that fence that he's just jumped with the mound, it's one of those sort of steady slalom fences just to make sure that you're in control, just to slow you up a little bit. As he comes to the water, oh no! And grinds to a halt at that fence. It's a big enough fence. It's underestimated on our TV screens. But it is underestimated. It's a roll top with a brush on the top and a big drop into the water. Hopefully now that this pony's seen where he's going, still took a lot of riding and a lot of encouragement to get through there. They've got to go back through the water again in a second, but that was unfortunately 20 penalties. We said going steady, getting that clear, but it didn't happen, sadly. Well, this is Rachel for Ireland, and she's riding Woodfield Clover Joker, 33.8 dressage. And they're in 27th place after the first phase. And the team not doing too badly either in the standings.
Yeah, Rachel Lucy we've just hearing riding as an individual. Rachel riding Woodfield Clover Joker, of course the famous Woodfield horses. They're so talented at the eventing, but also in the show jumping as well.
Yeah, they really are. And this pony is my father would probably call a proper job. And coming out, you'd love to see this pony in the hunting field as well. He's a real keen bean. She's going long as well. That'll be team orders, I would think, because the team currently on 129. Ted O'Leary with that 20 jumping penalties. They want to drop his score and count the score of Sarah Keane and Lonmac Lemotha, who is their drop score at the moment, which is 37.1 after the dressage. They might have to use that score coming into the cross country because of the 20 penalties that Ted picked up. He was our trailblazer earlier on this afternoon.
Yeah, Kiva Crozier for Ireland also, she just picked up 10.4 for time, but it was clear jumping, so 39.3 is their score. That's the best score for the Irish team at the moment.
We have another rider on the course right now, Benten Bartes from the Netherlands.
Just making his way, meandering his way back through the water. And just putting those 20 penalties behind him, and it's so important as a team rider to get home, whether you've picked up 20 penalties, getting a reminder there to make sure he jumps in over that fence. This is the fence that he stopped at, actually, that Rachel's now very quickly galloping through.
Yeah, it was a big bold jump in at the water, wasn't it? But she did well to get it back, to get the control back and head for that narrow fence coming out.
I actually think, if I'm right, Rachel riding as an individual, Hannah, is that right?
Yes, Rachel as an individual, and I think Alfredo here, the Italian rider, I think he is also riding as an individual.
Yep. We've got a mix of the team riders, then we have the individuals in the middle, and then the second and third. He's at the penultimate fence now. This again a fence that's caused a little bit of trouble, but absolutely no problems. As you say, I mean, he's just been a little bit slow on the cross country. Picked up the 20 jumping penalties as well. But do you know what that feeling coming through the finish flags, that your very first European Championships is like none other? It is just utter elation.
Yeah, the supporters just cheering as he comes through the finish line. I mean, crossing the finish line in any cross-country competition is still such an exciting feeling. And as you say, at these European Championships, it's what they've been working towards. It's what they've been aiming for. And
Yep.
they just are over the moon to be finished. They're over the moon to be competing as well, obviously, but to be able to complete and go forward to the show jumping tomorrow, just an incredible feeling. It's an incredible experience for these riders.
And you've got to remember, Hannah, as well, that they've got not only the cross-country, the rigours of the cross-country today, but in the morning they've got their final horse inspection as well. They've got to pass that final horse inspection to make sure that they're sound to jump the show jumps in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. We're just seeing, I think this is the Dutch rider Bente Bartels with Peggy's Rocket, just actually knocking over one of those, the little wooden horses that they need to steer around before jumping the corner fence. Jumped it successfully, but they are in a really difficult place, aren't they? It's not just the actual fences themselves that are causing some problems. You know, the riders have to manoeuvre around these sorts of elements as well. It just adds another level of complication, just another thing they need to really plan the lines well.
Yeah, they do, and they are an utter nuance. They need to, you know, they need to go inside or outside, or like Bente just did then, go through them, get them out the way, kick them out the way. They're just a pain. But they've caused their trouble already today, and they've done exactly what they were put there for. Bente Bartels, Peggy's Rocket, though, absolutely flying. The little grey coming to the water. This is a big fence in, roll top, brush on top at the back side of it. Flies in, keeps hold of the reins.
Ooh.
And out over very clever footwork coming out over that narrow brush coming out of the water, and sits and gallops away.
Yeah, really quick thinking from the pony there, really quick thinking from Bente Bartels. And this is another pony that just looks like he loves his job. He's having a whale of a time around these fences. 34.2 is Bente Bartels' dressage score, so they were sitting sort of 2/3 of the way down the field, but they are going well around the cross-country course here. And of course, we do have the results after the dressage, but everything changes on the cross-country day. You know, the French team have been going well, so they may well be still in a similar position to their position after the dressage. They were in the lead, but with the time being influential, with penalties being picked up all around the course, things could really be shaken up here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think so far we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 clear inside the time on the cross country, and that was for Sophie Vinning, who leads now on 30.1. She was 12th after dressage. She's pulled herself up 11 places to lead, and she was clear inside the time with Hip Hop. Second for France is Zoe Ballot and Voltaire de Lalonde on 32.5. In third, the French rider Ambroise Mandrou and Versailles de Mourin on 34.7. So the French having a very good day so far. They were also in fifth with the first rider that we saw go clear inside the time, Valentin Quedet-Eslan. He was clear inside. That scoreboard, though, it's pretty much anyone's for the grabbing, Hannah, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, as you say, we do have French riders in second, third and fifth, but we do have some riders with some very good dressage scores to come. The Finnish rider Anselmi Laiho will be on 30.8. That's their score that they bring forward to this phase. But of course, further down the list, we've also got Mathieu Cormeau for France with 26.4. Merle Hoffman for Germany has 25. And
our overnight leader.
And our overnight leader is yet to come, another French rider, May Rinaldi, 23.2.
41st out of the 46 to go, so we're gonna keep you guessing right to the wire as well.
Yeah, absolutely. This next combination just heading towards that big fence into the water, but really well ridden through there. And again,
Yeah,
Another combination not wasting any time after the fences, are they? That's what they've got to do. They can't waste time in getting back up to speed. They really power away from the fences.
Yeah, they do, and that is where they will save time. This is now Sarah Keane with Lon Mac Lemotha, and they are in the team. So this is a team rider, 37.1. They are the drop score at the moment, but they may well be the use score after the cross country. The team from Ireland, sponsored by Gain, and they are gaining in momentum as they go round the course. She looks like she's set off meaning business, and she's not wasting any time.
Yeah, really neatly through the combination. Another pony with his ears pricked, really having a whale of a time out around this cross-country course. And our next competitor here, I believe, is the Finnish rider. Are we looking at the Finnish rider here? Anselmi Laiho, yeah. Ewan Stone is the pony. And yeah, 30.8. Very good dressage score for them. Another pony that was going really quite quickly at the start of the course, and they've just settled into their rhythm a bit more now, haven't they, Spencer?
Yeah, they have, and interestingly, if she goes clear inside the time, she could go into second place. She can't take the lead, but another one here, Sarah, taking the long route at this corner, and this will be definite team orders for the Irish with that one run out from Ted late on in course, the first Irish team rider to go. They've of course got two more riders to come in the team, but Sarah being given those instructions to take the long route and then kick on, and that's where you saw her. She was wasting no time early on, but keeping up. She needs to keep up the revs.
Yeah, she does. As you say, the Irish team will have had that conversation. They will have made the decision as to what their approach is as a team. Of course, not something that's a concern for Anselmi Laiho, who's riding as an individual for Finland. And they're not sending a team to these eventing European Championships.
Penultimate fence. Oh, and quickly through there. She's chasing the clock. She's had a look at her watch just to see where she is.
A lot of excitement there.
That's what it means, though, doesn't it? It means so much to them. And there's so much support, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, just 3.6 to add, actually, to Anselmi Laiho's score. 34.4 is their new score. That pops them into third place.
Absolutely fantastic. What a round for them. And the scoreboard is changing, and it's likely to do so all through the afternoon as well. Well, back to the action right at the beginning of the course, just coming through one of the first combinations out there. This is another rider out enjoying the early part of the course, the Belgian rider, and I think this is Eline de Ridder and Jo de la Crevadi. They have a dressage score of 32.3, lying in 20th place. But as we know, this is not a dressage competition. It has caused trouble out there, whether it be jumping efforts or jumping penalties or time penalties. It is very, very much an open book, the cross country. It is causing its fair share of trouble. But a great round there, as you said, Hannah, from the Finnish individual rider. And Anselmi Laiho, they had just that 3.6. One of the fastest on the cross country with time faults. One of the fastest with time faults so far.
Yeah, they were just outside the time. And actually the competitors out on course now are really wasting no time as well. It's a super little pony, this super cool pony.
Yeah, brilliant.
Sarah Keane going well as well for Ireland.
Oh!
Ooh. Was she just jumping the string there? Just adding another fence in, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is. It was there. I don't quite know why she jumped the string, but She won't be penalised for that. She might be just pulled aside and had a word with by the ground jury, because sometimes jumping string out on course can be deemed as dangerous, but I think that was absolutely fine where she jumped the string, and the ground jury made up of Judy Hancock, Katrin Eichinger-Kniely and Emmanuel Ollier. They are all watching the cross country from their vantage points, whether they're out on course or up in the control box watching, and they would have seen that for sure.
Very quick through that water combination there.
A lot of the riders have jumped that, and it is on a mim clip, and we've seen that, but Giulia Niscati jumps the parallel bar, and the reason they're looking back is because if that mim clip was to go, they would get 11 penalties for activating the pin, activating the mim clip. 11 penalties for a mim clip, 15 penalties if they jump the wrong side of a flag. We haven't seen any of that at the moment, but if we do, we'll explain about it. But 11 penalties if they activate a mim clip.
Yeah, Giulia Nicastri now. This is the Italian rider. Giulia rides Cornerfest Barney. 31.9 was their dressage score, which had them in 18th place after the dressage phase. And again, this is another combination wasting no time.
So
Going
It's
well.
a crucial part of the track there, because there's a lot of, you jump 1, 2, 3, then, oh. That was a bit naughty.
Oh dear.
That was a bit naughty, because that is literally right in front of them. Now there is that long route which they pass on the way to that fence, but I'm quite surprised at that. Ooh.
It's the first problem we've seen at that fence.
It is, yeah. She needs just to take the foot off the accelerator a bit into her fences and just make sure that the horses or the pony is balanced enough to read and see the questions in front. But just going back to the fences and the course. The fences are 1, 2, 3 simple, 4 combination fence, and they come pretty thick and fast, and you can waste a lot of time at those initial combination fences, and then you have to make up some galloping, but already you're down on the clock.
Yep, they've really, as you say, I mean, there's no let up around this course. It's pretty constant. It comes up quickly. You've really got to keep the pace up. Another rider just taking the long route at fence 11. That fence that, of course, was so influential earlier in the day.
A great result from the dressage, third place before today with 20.
Yeah, and through there, penalty free. Well, this is now for France. This is Mathieu Cuomo, and you talked about him coming with a very good score, because he was third after dressage on 26.4, and he has set off like a demon.
Yeah, rocket-powered pony here, just going really quickly down the course. Going well so far, but they're going quickly, but the pony's not pulling too much. You know, we've seen a couple earlier in the day that were getting quite strong, but these two, I mean, he's just taking a little pull there, but they seem to be a good partnership. They seem to really be understanding each other, you know, communicating well.
Let's hope that continues. I'm just laughing because all I can hear is shouting and screaming and whooping and clapping, and it just makes it such a good party to be involved with, listening to everybody and all their excitement and all the support that these riders are getting the whole way round the course. It's not at any one particular fence. They're getting it all round the course.
Yeah, it's a huge occasion for them. Just another shout going up there that we can hear.
Oh, it's brilliant.
But it's just what the riders need, isn't it? You know, to keep the excitement, keep that enthusiasm up, you know, really helps them around the course. And just such an incredible feeling when they complete European Championships. It's a big occasion.
It's a massive occasion, and I can't tell you what it's like to represent your country let alone for the very first time. It is such a unique feeling, and the absolute, all the things that you ever want to do. This is their Olympic Games, this is their European Championships, this is their Badminton Burley, and this is where we see a lot of younger riders coming from, going to in later years. And the feeling of elation of representing your country at a European Championships, whether it be as an individual or as part of a team, is second to none, and it is such a proud moment. You want to go out there, you want to do your country proud, you want to do yourselves proud, because this could be the biggest stepping stone of your entire career. And I think these guys are taking it, grabbing it with both hands and doing their country proud.
Yeah, riding for a team as well, it's just an even bigger occasion, isn't it, to represent your country, to represent a team effort as well. Of course, riding as an individual is still an extremely, it's an incredible achievement for these riders. Just got another starter out on course
Lying
now.
in second, isn't she?
Yes,
Merle Hoffman?
it's Merle Hoffman. 25.0 was the dressage. So this could really shake things up at the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, 100%. We've got Mathieu out there who's lying in third, and then we've got Merle out there who's lying in second. Our overnight leader is coming in a few horses' time. In fact, in about 10 horses' time, we'll have our overnight leader out there as Mathieu comes to the water. And now these are on amazingly good scores, and it's all going to come down to time penalties and fighting it out for that gold medal, because even one time fault, two time faults is going to make a big difference to their scores and to their overnight positions. One fence down tomorrow, and make sure you're tuning in with Hannah to watch that show jumping tomorrow. It's going to be a crucial one, not only in the team but also for the individuals. It's going to be nail biting. That is for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the scores, they were tight after the dressage. They'll be even tighter as things are shaken up after this cross-country phase.
Yeah.
And it's a big ask for some of these ponies as well. They've shown their accuracy, they've shown the skill in the dressage phase. Then now having today's test on the cross-country, where they need to gallop, they need to jump boldly over the big fences, and then of course tomorrow they have their horse inspection, and then the jumping phase where they'll really need to have the control back, have the accuracy back for those delicate fences. Of course, the cross-country fences, there's a lot of brush tops, they can touch these fences, but not in the show jumping phase. The delicate coloured poles, they will fall so easily just with the lightest touch.
One fence down is really expensive as Mathieu goes through the water. Merle coming down to one of the fences that precedes a question. And it's great to see so many of you watching. Jill Sinclair is watching in Australia, Hannah. She's saying great commentary, loving it, and she can't resist watching. It's 12:30 at night, just got midnight, and she said she can't resist watching. We've also had people tuning in, or should I say tuning out of Hartbury and tuning in to the Pony Europeans and loving it.
Oh, well, that's great to hear. It's especially that's dedication. 12:30 in Australia time. But why not? It's such an exciting competition.
Absolutely.
It is unmissable.
Coming to the corner. Oh, gets it too. Well done, her. When you've got to take that chance, Hannah, haven't you? If you're going to go in to the show jumping with half a fighting chance of winning a gold medal, she's lying in second place on that very good dressage score 25.0. She needs to take the direct lines.
She does. She can't waste any time. She can't.
Oh! No. Oh. Mathieu, he was lying in third and he just slips between fences, and that is his medal chances gone. Oh my goodness me, here we go again. He goes to turn and just losing the back end. He does well to stay in the saddle, does even harder. I feel so sorry for him. Oh, Hannah.
That's just not what he wants at all. Your heart was in your mouth, wasn't it? You just really feel for him. Just slipping through the through the turn there. I mean, he did really well to keep the balance, to actually keep the pony upright, you know, but he still was going for the fence, you know. You could see that he thought, oh, no, don't let me have a run out here, but they just couldn't quite get themselves back up and running in time.
That is unbelievably gutting, unbelievably disappointing for Mathieu. He was so nearly home. You've got to take chances, and unfortunately he was up against the clock and just slipping in between fences, and there he saw the medal hopes slip away in the blink of an eye.
So upsetting for Mathieu there.
Well,
But
here-
it is a difficult course. It is a championship, as we've said. You know, these things happen, and that's the nature of the sport.
It is. Merle Hoffman still flying, and she'll be chasing down the optimum time, 6 minutes and 37 seconds around this 3,440 metre track. And these ponies are travelling on average 520 metres per minute. Remember, these are ponies. They're 14.2 and no bigger. They have to be measured into the championships. That's 148 centimetres. Tiny, tiny, tiny. And these fences are big, big, big.
Yeah, it's amazing what these ponies can do. You know, when you watch the show jumping as well, they're 1.30 m around those courses. You know, they're big courses for horses, never mind for the ponies.
Yeah, they are. They are definitely, and that's why they say courses for horses, horses for courses, and it is. It's a massive track, and I remember being at the European Championships, Bishop Burton, Strzegom, years ago, and walking the track in the show jumping and just thinking, are you sure this is right? Is this right, what we're walking? Because they are enormous. And these ponies are ponies.
Yeah.
But my goodness me, do they jump?
They're just exceptionally talented, aren't they? And you know, of course, they've been doing these courses for, you know, during their international careers. They've got they've all been jumping the pony 2-star competitions before they've come to these Europeans. They've got the experience, and they've got the talent, and they've got the scope. It's the scope that they really need, isn't it? You know, they need the boldness, they need the confidence for the cross country.
Well, nearly home, Merle Hoffman. Has she been quick enough? That is going to be the big question. Has she been fast enough around this course? 6 minutes 37 seconds. She jumped the final fence, and it's going to come down to time.
6 minutes and 51 seconds.
No, I think I've just heard 6:51.
Yeah,
Did you?
I did. 6:51.
Yeah.
So she is outside the time. She will pick up some time penalties.
5.6 time added. Oh, that's very frustrating.
Yeah, 30.6. So that, I mean, it keeps her in second place at the moment. But of course, our current leader, the French rider May Rinaldi, is yet to come. 23.2 is her time. But also, you know, we have Maya Marie Fernandez for Germany. She's on 27.3 after the dressage. So it could all change. So it's second at the moment for Merle Hoffman, but there's plenty of riders yet to come who could go ahead of her.
But interesting, isn't it? Because we've got a number of riders that are still to come. You mentioned May Rinaldi, Maya Marie Fernandez as well, 27.3. We've got a number of riders on the 27-29 mark that could still go ahead. Even the Irish rider Ben Connors could go right up there. He's on 30.3. If he goes clear inside the time, he could take the lead. There are still quite a lot of riders, if they go inside the time, could go to the top of the leaderboard. It could change completely.
Yeah. It could all change after this phase, and then of course it could all change after the show jumping.
Yeah.
Just seeing the Dutch rider Senna van Hout there, not taking any chances at the water, just gives the pony a lot of encouragement. Really sitting down and driving for these fences, just making sure that the pony's feeling the confidence, feeling confident.
Oh! Oh no, another one slipping. Oh. Wow, Hannah, this
Yeah.
has been
Another-
amazing, hasn't it? This
I
is
mean,
just right from the start.
It's just heartbreaking though, you know, they're jumping so well and then just slipping on a turn like that, not even coming to a fence, just going around between fences, between that combination, but yeah, slips over, loses the balance.
Yeah, totally heartbreaking. And we go back, and I remember so vividly, like it is still so fresh in my mind. And I don't know whether you remember this at the Olympic Games back in Rio de Janeiro, when Tim Price was riding Ringwood Skyboy, and again between fences on the cross country slipped and came down.
Yeah.
And it happened so easily, so quickly. And you just end up standing there going, what on earth happened?
You know, as you say,
I can't believe it.
I mean, especially, you know, somebody like Tim Price, you know, so experienced. But it's just about luck on the day, you know.
I'm sure he doesn't want the cameras on him.
No.
Poor lad. I mean, that is just gutting, absolutely gutting.
For him. As you say, you know, this is the pinnacle of their career so far. They've worked so hard to get to these championships, to get selected for the team, and just to have it snatched away with a slip on the flat there.
And it is snatched away, and it's snatched away in the blink of an eye. Well, Megan Mills has just messaged in, Hannah, and she's even later. She's on a night shift in New Zealand. It's 2:30 in the morning, and she says, what wonderful, brave, bold ponies, lucky kids.
She's absolutely right. You know, they are lucky kids to be having these incredible ponies. You know,
young adults.
Yes, young adults, exactly. And we were just saying earlier, weren't we, that they're so talented, these riders, real talents for the future. And the way that they're riding this course, you could definitely see them at your Badmintons, Burleys, Kentucky, at those competitions in years to come.
1,000,000%. We go back to the likes of Karen O'Connor, who rode a lovely little pony. He was only 14.2. He jumped round a 5-star. I mean, he was 14.2. And just brilliant. These ponies are just so amazing.
Yeah, just so talented. Just taking a bit of a pull there. We're with the Swedish rider now. This is Evelina Collin. She rides Courant. The dressage score was 38.3, so she really does need a clear round, but it won't be challenging the leaders for the individual places. But of course, in this team competition, there will be a drop score, but Evelina will be hoping to finish on that dressage score that she's carrying at the moment.
She's not been the quickest so far in the early stages and mid stages of the cross country, but I think what she'll be looking for more is that 0. And as we go back up to, and another one taking the longer route at that influential 11th place, this is, just looking down, is this Patria?
Yeah, I think this is the Danish rider, Patria Skov Christensen.
Yeah.
Now, would you like to try and tackle this horse's name, Spencer, or?
No.
Yeah, quite a complicated
Roberto.
name.
Let's call it Roberto.
Yeah, we'll just stick with the Roberto part. But 30.7 there, dressage. You know, it was a good score. It took us a while to get very many horses, ponies, going at sub 30 in the dressage phase, but 30.7 was this one, which actually has them in 14th individually.
Getzedegaard's Roberto then coming... Oh, it did it. I just went straight out with it. Getzedegaard's Roberto coming down to the mound fence. Just one of those sort of roller coaster fences, isn't it? Just to slow them up and make sure that the course designer here has been quite clever, because it could be two very simple fences. But Getzedegaard's Roberto coming on down to the water, hardly taking a pull. Just ears pricked now. Gets a little reminder behind the saddle.
It was quite a big jump in, just a little bit of loss of balance, but the rider then got it back and very successfully out. We can hear more cheering and shouting.
Yeah.
It's another pony not wasting any time. It's Garazzi Landetta Smith. riding Qatar de Mendes. This is a Spanish rider. 37.0 is their dressage that they bring forward to the cross-country phase.
We've just been asked the score of Eline de Ridder, who jumped clear and just picked up 3.2 time faults on the cross-country. She finished on 35.5. Currently goes into 8th place, the Belgian rider. And Amanda Holloway saying, who designed the cross-country course? And I'm afraid I have absolutely no idea who designed the cross-country course, because like Hannah, like yourself, I'm at home in the UK. There's some very noisy people at a speaker on the cross-country. I'm having to turn my volume down.
I've just done the same thing, actually. I'm sure
do you
it's
know the course
fascinating.
designer?
Well, I'm just having a look here, and I see that there's a course designer listed as Simon Tarrant. I think that's how you would say that. And he actually designed the show jumping course for the team show jumping competition yesterday, a Polish course designer. But yes, I think he is also the designer of this cross-country course as well. So Simon Tarrant.
It would be interesting to know if we were able to find that out, because I'm pretty sure, having been over to Poland and to Strzegom, Simon Tarrant is the show jump. I don't know if he does design the cross-country courses though, and it would be really interesting to find that out, which we'll try and do that.
Yeah.
Trouble is, when I turn the volume down, I also turn you down, and I like listening to you, because then I don't jump over you.
Yes, I mean, but we were really enjoying hearing the cheering and shouting, weren't we?
Yeah. I'm sure they're having a fabulous conversation down there, whatever they're talking about.
Oof, a little bit sticky over that one. But however they want to jump it, so long as they go through the flags and safely over the fences, that's all they need to do. Another Irish rider now out on course. It's Grace Murtagh. 16-year-old pony, this one. So surely quite experienced around these courses. But, you know, you can really see that the pony comes around the corner, says, show me the fence, show me which flags it is, show me where I'm going, and just picks up and jumps so well. They're a great partnership, aren't they, these two?
Girls, move away! So Grace Murtagh just coming around to this. We've just seen one rider have a fault here, and that was much earlier on, the Italian rider who had the 20 penalties there. We go back to the Spanish pair, Grazie Landera-Smith with Qatar de Mendes at the water.
And, you know, we were saying earlier, weren't we, about it? It takes all different types of ponies, you know, all different shapes and sizes. And this Spanish horse is fairly unusual, isn't it? You know, we haven't seen many of that type. We've seen a few... Ooh, just a little peck there. But yeah, the Spanish pony, just a little bit of a different build, I think, to some of the others that we've seen.
She ain't been hanging around either, just scattering the cameraman. And it's quite Araby in his breed, I think, isn't he? The way he holds his tail would suggest that. And
quite a dish face.
Yeah, and I mean, she's been flying.
Yeah, really, really flying. And these fences, they're big, aren't they? You know, there's some brush elements on top of some of them, but, you know, it's a big chunky log there at that, I think it's a Trakehner style fence. And there are a couple of quite wide triple bar type fences. And as we were saying, there's one with of course the clips that can be broken, and that would incur 11 penalties. and 15 for jumping the wrong side of the flags. We haven't seen anybody do that.
Nope, thank goodness. Ooh, another
just
one.
a little
Just
bit of a slip there.
again.
I mean, the ground looks to be holding up really well around the course, but there are just some parts where we've seen a couple of horses slip. And perhaps just a little bit slippery on the grass on top.
And Grace jumps beautifully through the water, very confident
Yeah,
through
really
there.
good there.
Yeah, I think the ground is great. I was actually commentating on the 4-star a short while ago, only a few weeks ago, and they've had a lot of dry weather. But the second they have any rain in Strzegom, I was there for the European Championships a few years ago, the senior Europeans, and the second they have any rain there, it gets quite slippy. And they've had really good dry weather out in Poland, as I'm sure you're fully aware, having commentated for the last 3 days there as well. It's been beautiful, and I just don't know whether, you saw there, Grace just having a little bit of a slip on the turn there. They have got studs in, but it doesn't mean that it stops them from slipping. It tries to slow that down. It doesn't prevent. It's not a preventative. And sometimes as riders we get a little bit complacent that we've got studs in, we'll be okay. That is not always the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, as you say, it is like wearing football boots in a way. But even with the studs, you can still slip a little bit. I actually noticed as well that, as you say, it's been beautiful dry weather over the weekend in Strzegom. It's also been really quite warm, high 20s, the temperatures there.
And I know when it's hot there, it's hot. When it's we haven't had the weather like that in the UK. It's been pretty miserable rain last couple of days. The sun has been out a little bit intermittently today, but it's been, as you say, it's been hot there for them.
Yeah, and that's another factor. You know, I mean, we saw at the Olympics the weather was extremely hot, and I think, you know, I heard that there were a few horses that were chosen because they were chosen because they would react particularly well in those conditions. And of course, you know, they are animals and they will feel those conditions, but of course there'll be all sorts of measures at the finish line to get these ponies cooled down quickly after their rounds.
Beautifully through the water, just going back up course to Alessandro Massimo Battoni and Winnie's Lad. Just caught a glimpse of them, but at the second last penultimate fence now is Grace Murta. That is it offers that, and I don't know about you, Hannah, but the more they've been jumping through on that line, whether they've just skimmed off the top layer of grass and it's getting a bit slippy because it's getting bulled there, it's difficult to see from our camera angle.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just as the ponies are going over it, you know, it obviously changes the condition of the ground. I mean, it is holding up well, but I think, as you say, it's just losing a bit of ground. You can see where the grass goes a little bit thinner in places, and I think that is impacting things.
Yeah, definitely. Well, here's the Italian rider being chased by a supporter. Alessandro Massimo Battoni, Winnie's Lad on that dressage 36.2. Even dressage at 36.2 can bring them right up the leaderboard. He's coming to this very colourful combination. And there is a corner that is flagged there, but no one has gone that, Hannah. And having not walked the course, I don't know. There's that corner there. And having not walked the course, I don't know what the options are. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think, as you say, everybody's taken the same line there. I can't quite think that the corner would be an alternative.
No, it's got to be a direct route, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, they're certainly not wasting any time through there.
No, they're not. So Bridget Johnson says Simon Tarrant. I think you were right, and I think I don't know why I doubted you at all, but I don't remember Simon Tarrant designing maybe he doesn't design the 4-star tracks. Maybe he is designer of the European track here for the ponies. But it's a brilliant course, and it's certainly done its job in being a championship track.
Yeah.
Oh! Did I say that just on cue?
Yeah, just really unlucky there, but I think the pony just hadn't quite locked on to that narrow fence coming out of the water, so they will now have to try and go back to the alternative. Quite a long way round there, but yeah, just didn't lock onto the fence and just nipped out the side. No.
Yeah, very frustrating. And the 4-star, they jumped through because we're near the main arena here. The main arena just up the top end of that picture. And further trouble for, that was the French rider by the look of it.
Yeah.
This is Combril and Utmeja de Janier, 27.5 dressage.
It was a
That's
great
all
dressage. Great dressage score.
Yeah, it was a great. This is Alessandro back with him again. Oh, it's all happening again.
I know. I think perhaps the pony just lost confidence. You know, once they've had a problem somewhere, sometimes they just pick them up further around the course as well, don't they? But it's such a shame for the French rider. Of course, we have had some really good performances from the French riders previously. We have, of course, Valentin Critet Eslan earlier today is now on 35.5. Zoe Ballot on 32.5.
Well, you may have just heard over the tannoy that we've got the final team rider for Ireland out on course. And that is, there he is, as if on cue again. That is now Ben Connors and Cornerfest Fred, 30.3 dressage.
Yeah. And so now we do come to the final riders for the teams. So we're really getting to the business end of things here, aren't we? The leaderboard will really be shaken up. Just taking a nice accurate turn there, gets really straight to the fence. Big shot to that last. Fantastic.
Oh no!
Oh,
who's on the
dear.
grey, Hannah? That's not Ben, is it?
No, Ben's is a bay pony.
Okay. Well, the French rider's still going. Is that?
That's a bay as well. I mean, the next grey I can see on my list is Julia Manoni Douglas, but I'm pretty sure they haven't started yet.
No, I don't think they've started either. I think, is it not Lauren Blemart?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't, it could be. Is that a grey?
It's listed as a bay here as well.
What's going on there
Unless
then?
somebody's parted company in the warm-up and the horse has just decided to take itself off round the course.
We'll try and bring you news on that as soon as we can. Julia Donaldson says, come on, Ben. Ben Connors, Cornerfest Fred, is out at the beginning of the course as we just watch, jumping beautifully through the water. That is Combril and Utmeja de Janier for France. Here's Ben.
Pony looking full of running.
Another one just to look over his shoulder and make sure that that rail stays up.
I think nearly all of the riders have actually had a little look back there just to be on the safe side, haven't they?
Yeah.
They're obviously conscious of it, but nicely through the water as well for the French rider. Some supporters looking like they're running round the corner so that they can see some more of the course. Of course, on the ground it's quite difficult to be able to see all parts of the course. We're very lucky to be able to be watching on a screen here, so we can see more than I think you often can on the ground.
I think that's never a good thing when I think, but I think that that was, as you said, somebody from the warm-up, because there's no one else out on course.
I mean, of course, no penalties for parting company in the warm-up, but perhaps not the best start, perhaps not something that'll fill you with confidence.
Well, there is a rule that is, if it's a fall anywhere on site, it is elimination.
Ah.
So it'll be interesting to see who is next out on course following Ben round if we do see the grey, because you thought the grey that was waiting was the Italian, Julia Manoni. It'll be interesting to see whether she comes out.
7 minutes and 12 seconds.
Just another little slip on a turn there that we saw, but Ben going really well. A really nice shot to that big table fence.
Classy rider, isn't he?
Yeah,
Very stylish.
Yeah. And I think he's another rider who, you know, he really uses his body well, really using his body to help balance the horse over the fences.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, you know, it makes me think of Ros Cantor, and you know, I remember her describing her approach with more of an approach of keeping the body more upright, and the reins a little bit longer, which allows the horse to move, and you know, stops you kind of interfering too much, allows you to keep your body in balance, but obviously, you know, not necessarily a traditional way of riding sometimes, especially not in the show jumping phases, but it's definitely effective here.
Yeah, very effective, and he's using it well. He's using his balance well, and giving this pony a class ride.
Yeah, but again, the pony just slipped around the back of that fence, and unfortunately, we did see somebody earlier slip there and lose their balance and go over and part company. But it is a big occasion, and you know, we're now getting down to some of the later riders, and they have got to have their foot to the floor. They are conscious of the time, and they just can't afford to kind of ease off. But of course, it's a balance, isn't it, about keeping up the speed, but also being careful on the turns, because no doubt word will be getting back about some riders slipping a little bit.
Set up. Oh, you know, you've got it's almost a heart in your mouth moment there, isn't it? But a brilliant round.
Fantastic. Really, really well ridden.
6 minutes and 35
So yes, it's definitely clear for jumping. And
2 seconds inside the time as well. And he was 6 minutes 35. Brilliant, brilliantly judged round.
perfectly judged. 30.3. They finish on their dressage score.
And that goes into the lead. Does that make sense? Does it go to the lead?
Takes the lead at the moment.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Very well done.
Interestingly, Lauren Blermart, who has also jumped clear, 30.4 was her dressage score, so just waiting for the time there.
This is her, isn't it, here?
This is her here, yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see how she does for time, because, of course, it'd be so tight. Just 0.1 of a penalty behind Ben Connors.
But also Sophie Ving, she's on the same score. Hip Hop, she's on 30.4. So if Lauren will need to be closer to the optimum time than Sophie to go ahead if they finish on the same score.
Yeah, absolutely. Hoppenhoff's Kanda Z is this pony's name for Belgium. The Belgian team in 5th at the moment, and they just have the 3 riders, so they don't have a drop score, so each rider counts for them. 2 riders obviously have already been. One was Aline de Ridder and then Arne Konegratz. So Lauren, the final rider for Belgium.
I'm just trying to keep up and have a look at the cross-country tape, because the next out on course should have started, and that is the Italian rider. And she hasn't.
No. So there you go. Perhaps that was the case there. Perhaps it was then Giulia Manoni, the Italian rider.
There we have next one. This is into the start box.
May Rinaldi.
Yeah. So
this is our leader.
Yeah, she follows Giulia Manoni, and Giulia Manoni is not on course. So I think they parted company in the warm-up, and it is any fool on sight, whether it be the dressage, the cross-country, or the show jumping, and it's elimination. That is very sad as well.
That is really, really sad, and yeah, it's just not what you want. I mean, I can't imagine, you know, to have got to this to have got to this competition and then, you know, have a problem in the warm-up, which means that you then can't even set off on the cross-country course.
I know. Heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
But May Rinaldi then now is our new starter, 23.2, the leader after the dressage, riding Boston du Verdon.
Just go back up course to Lauren as she comes through the water to this arrowhead, and this is where we saw the run out a short while ago by the Italian. There's May. Good start for them, confident start for them so far.
Yeah.
Boston du Verdon. Nicely through the first couple of combination fences.
Just saw May, was she just swapping her whip over to the other hand there? Obviously
Yeah.
just preparing for the next combination. Just, there's something that she's got in mind.
This owned by Brigitte Rinaldi. And he's a 10-year-old stallion by Salem de Roch, and he is a proper little pocket rocket.
Przeszkody z numerem 6. Widzimy, jak podążają wzrokiem za nią.
So 23.2. She can afford the odd time fault, but she won't want them. She'll want to go into the show jumping with as much in hand as she possibly can have. She wants to go in having the breathing room of and the ability of having a fence in hand if she can have it. Oh my goodness. I think they're pleased.
I think they might be.
Well, that was for Lauren completing. She picked up 6.4 time penalties, completing on 36.8, goes into 10th place.
But earlier this morning we were wondering how many clears we'd see, really, weren't we? Because it took us a little while to find our second clear. Several riders picking up 20 penalties and several eliminations early on, but it seems to be riding a lot better now, you know, but the ground is another consideration, with a couple of riders slipping on the turns.
1,000,000% going straight. Oh, that's one problem out of the way.
Perfectly through there. And I think that was the fence that the whip changing hand was for.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it was such an influential fence earlier. We saw a lot of riders seeing the problems there and then taking the long route. But it's not a problem for May Rinaldi and Boston du Verdon.
Well, another one that could go to the top of the leaderboard. This is Maya Marie Fernandez and Maruto. There they go in the opposite direction, pas de deux style, as May Rinaldi and Boston du Verdon come on to this bank combination. And it's just a great use of the topography in Strzegom, up and down and changing the gears, making sure that these riders are able to change gear, because it's a really important part of cross-country riding to be able to change what speed you're going. And she's just shaking her hand there, so I wonder if Boston du Verdon is getting quite strong, this little stallion.
But again, he really looks like he knows his job. You know, it's a big, bold jump into the water there. But big, bold jump, but not overly fast. And so it was not too difficult then for May to balance him back, ready for the jump out.
Just disappearing. Maya Marie Fernandez and Maruto, 27.3 they're on. There's only a couple of scores that could go ahead of Ben Connor. And Silkas is another one of those, the Danish rider, second last to go. But there's three that can go ahead. One of them is this lady, and she looks like she has not wasted a second so far.
Just made me gasp a little bit there at the start, at the first part of this combination. Just thought that the horse was having a little bit of a look there.
Yeah, she's at fence 16 of the 24 numbered fences, and as she crosses over the road, she's got a lot of support there. Look, as she comes back towards the tail end of the course. She's just putting the finishing touches to what has been a brilliant round so far. She's going back to the water now, but she checks her clock there. I think she'll be pretty pleased with what she sees. The wind in his mane as he gallops on to the final bit of the course, getting his feet wet again.
Yeah, and it's a fairly big drop down there into the water, isn't it? And they really do have to get the control back. We were talking about adaptability and adjustability earlier on, and that's really what they need to show here. They had a decent length of galloping before that water fence, and then they really have to get the balance back ready for the skinny fence coming out. Great shot in that fence in the middle of the water for May Rinaldi. Not many more to go for her.
No, and we'll soon know where she is going to go. Well, this is the fourth last to go. Kerida Smith with the lovely little Orchids Tiger Sun, 31.6 dressage.
Yeah, and just the horses that we've got out on the course at the moment, they're a range of ages. We've got a 9-year-old with Maya Marie Fernandez, but Kato de Schmidt, her pony is 18 at the other end of the
That's lovely
scale.
too, isn't it?
Yeah, beautifully through there.
Go on then. How close? How close are you? How close do you think, Hannah?
Ooh, I think she'll be within a few seconds. I do think that will be close. I think the pony was covering the ground well. You know, they didn't look in a hurry, particularly, but yeah, I do think. Oh, have we got the time in?
5.2 time.
Ooh.
Ooh, 5.2. That means she goes now on to a score of 28.4, holds her lead, but it means the door is open. There are a couple that could go ahead of her. There are one or two that could go ahead, and she has closed down the gap because she cannot now afford to have a fence down. She's in gold medal position at the moment. Ben Connors for Ireland in silver, and Sophie Wiening for the Netherlands in the bronze individually. But it's all going to change for teams as well. We'll bring you the results of those in a few moments. She took the corner.
And there we go. That was the direct route.
There we go.
The first rider we've seen to do that, but this is the rider that could take the lead over from May Rinaldi. 27.3 is her dressage, so if she finishes clear inside the time, she will just slip ahead of May Rinaldi.
It was interesting because I think that is literally the first we've seen take that corner route, jumping the rail and then that right-handed corner. She made it look really easy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wonder why not many riders have opted to do that, but they've all gone the long route.
Yep. I don't think they waste that much time though, do they, really?
No. And I think they can keep the pace up a little bit through there as well. So no, they're not wasting any time, really. So Kato de Schmidt out on course. Ooh. Just chips a little one in before the final part of that combination, but they've gone well. Another one to take the direct route at fence 11. And Maya Marie Fernandez, she will know that the scores are tight at the top of the leaderboard, but she won't know May Rinaldi's score yet.
No, and that's what will make a big difference, isn't it? Is the fact that she doesn't know what has. Ooh, she doesn't know what has happened. Well, that is the Danish rider that is on 29.5, Sjokas, and Hesteluka Be My Best Smoky at the penultimate fence. Hannah now is the girl that could go to the top of the leaderboard. It's going to be nip and tuck all the way.
Yeah, it's really tight. But she's had a great round so far. Maya Marie Fernandez.
In fact, it was Kato de Schmidt that we saw. It wasn't Sjokas. Sjokas is coming later on.
Sally Wittwangen is our next starter then. The one that we're just seeing on our screens now. Lachlan Ladd is her pony. 32.7 their dressage, so it's not too far off the leaders, but it can't challenge the lead, and it can't can't nip in front of Ben Connors either.
Another one to take the corner. What's going on?
We go all afternoon with nobody taking the corner, and now 2 in a row. I think that's what you were saying about buses.
Yeah.
Of Maya Mari Fernandez with Maroton means that she will get 8.4 for the time.
Ooh, sounds like, yep, Maya Marie Fernandez adds 8.4 for
Yeah.
time, so she could have gone ahead of May Rinaldi, but doesn't.
No, she's
That's
gone into 11th place on 35.7. Expensive
Really
time penalties.
really, really expensive. And that's what we thought this morning, wasn't it? We thought that the time would be influential. Actually, it was the jumping earlier on in the course that was particularly influential. But here, a good jumping round from Maya Marie Fernandez, but it's the time that is their undoing, drops them right down the leaderboard.
So just going back to Sally Wittwangen and Lachlan Ladd, 32.7. And a good round inside the time, 32.7 on the scoreboard, would see them go, I mean, they would climb right up and go into 6th place if they had a good round on the cross country, but they need to go inside the time, and then that's where the risks start happening. And even with that 32.7, going the long route here sensibly with all the trouble that it's caused, she could go from 23rd into 6th or 7th, and that's remarkable with the cross country action that we've seen today.
Yeah, absolutely. It can just change things so quickly. And I mean, you know, we saw that at the Olympics as well, the time being influential. We saw people, teams and individual riders really changing their positions. Another one just having a little slip around the back there. It's, you know, it's a 3-phase competition. They have to be good at all 3 phases, don't they? You know, the dressage, of course, is influential, but here the cross country is shaking things up. Flies the last big pats for the pony.
Yeah, great round for them. And Amanda says, are we anywhere, the GB squad? There's no GB squad, Amanda, I'm afraid. The British said that they weren't taking the risk, and unfortunately they're not back to defend their title, both team and individual. Of course, Great Britain won in 2019, and it was back here, was it in Strzegom in 2019, the Europeans?
Yeah,
I think so. And then we had also the individual was won by Great Britain as well. It was Team Gold. Finn Healy, Ibble Watson, Freya Partridge and Daisy Bathe were the team, and Finn Healy the individual gold medalist, and Ibble Watson was the individual silver medalist from the championships back here in 2019. But they are not here defending their title for 2021.
No, it would be interesting to see how much time is saved with taking the corner at the fence that we were just at there.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen many do it, and we don't think that it will make a huge difference. But of course, every second counts. Kato de Schmidt just picking up 2.8 for time. Kato has now completed and is on a score of 34.4, so that takes them into 6th.
And 17th after dressage, just dragged them right up the leaderboard with that good round.
Another really big change.
Going direct.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, perfectly through there.
Lovely.
Really, really nice.
Well, Sukas could go up, right up. She can't go. Can she go into the lead?
She can't take the lead, but she can go into second.
Into second.
May Rinaldi on 28.4.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ben Connors 30.3, and
yeah, and then Sophie 30.4. I mean, Could you get any closer?
So tight.
And then fourth, 30.6.
Yeah.
And one fence separating the top 5. That's how close it is.
It will certainly be an exciting show jumping competition to watch tomorrow.
Yeah, won't it just? Make sure you tune in because Hannah will be commentating on the show jumping in that final phase tomorrow. And you can tune in to FEI eventing under that umbrella as delighted Sally Wittwangen finishes with Lachlan Ladd. And her time coming in 7.2 time. So she climbs from 23rd into 16th overnight on 39.9.
Yeah, it was a good round. I mean, 7.2 for time, so she was a little bit over, but I'm sure she'll be thrilled with that. We could hear the cheers going up, we could hear the excitement. We were talking about the elation at crossing the finish line, actually in any cross-country course, but especially here at the European Championships. It just means so much to these riders. Another one taking the corner here.
Yeah, and easy. I mean, you just look at that, don't you? And you think, why have more not done it? Why have more not gone that direct route? We don't know the answer to that question. We can tell you that the last horse, Pony, is out on course. Oh!
Big peck on landing there.
Big peck.
This is another super cool pony, isn't it? They've been so accurate, and they're just making these combinations look easy.
Yeah,
I don't want to speak too soon, but they're going great so far.
Oh! Hannah!
Oh no!
That's your fault.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh, that was so. Oh,
and on that score,
timing.
29.5. They were flying.
They were really flying. God, they've been going so well.
So well. Well, that's the end of their day. Unfortunately, this is the last of the day out there on the cross country representing Spain, taking the direct route at that corner combination at 11. This is Claudia Herdia Biana with Balili Villalas, 32.6 dressage. Good to see that poor Sukas is walking away after parting company at that fence. So nearly home as well.
Such a shame for them.
Shame.
Another rider just turning to have a look just to make sure that clip hasn't broken. Yeah, that was such a shame. They were having a fantastic round and just nipped out to the side. It wasn't the first pony to have done that. Just really,
very quickly through there.
Yeah. And Claudia on 32.6. So a good round could...
Oh, there she is.
Oh.
There she is. So this is Giulia Manoni and Douglas. They obviously parted company because we saw Douglas galloping, and it was definitely Douglas because I remember the numna. I was looking at the pad and it was definitely Douglas. They've obviously been given permission to get going again. She probably had to get checked out by the doctors or whatever the rule is for them, but they are underway.
Oh, well, that's great to see her competing because we thought that would have been such a shame to have a problem in the warm-up ring and have that affect the performance. So I'm really glad they've been allowed to start.
So Maria Jensen just saying we'd love to get the scores. We're trying to bring you the scores as much as we can. And another one taking the direct route at the corner, making that look very easy. And Kathy saying SF in the time. Not quite sure what that is implying, which rider you're looking for or how many. We've had very few inside the time on the cross country. The time has been incredibly influential right from the get-go this morning, or this afternoon. We started at 2 o'clock BST.
Yeah, the time allowed 6 minutes and 37 seconds. But So far, the in gold medal position is May Rinaldi for France with 28.4. Ben Connors for Ireland is in the silver medal position with 30.3. And Sophie Vening of the Netherlands is in bronze medal position with 30.4. Claudia Heredia Baena here that we're just seeing now, riding for Spain, is on 32.6. So a good round inside the time would put them into 6th place. Just behind Zoe Ballot, another French rider who's on 32.5. But the scores are really, really tight. And as you say, Spencer, the show jumping will be fascinating to watch tomorrow. It's going to be really, really tight. There's less than a fence between the top 6.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I mean, you know, of course, there's always the possibility for time penalties in the show jumping as well. And with scores like 30.3, 30.4, 30.6, they can't even afford to have a single time fault in the show jumping either.
And under international rules, it's 0.4 for every second.
Yeah.
So it's going to be amazingly tight. Because you want to jump a safe clear round, but there's not the room to jump a safe clear round. You've got to keep moving.
They have got to keep their foot to the floor, really. And I mean, actually, in the show jumping team competition yesterday, there was one rider who was obviously trying to go for a steady clear and had 3 clear jumping rounds, but picked up 1 time penalty in each one.
Oh wow! So 2 horses on course, and we know that Claudia, the Spanish rider, had a run out at 7. They've also had a run out at 19, which is on the way home. So they've had 2 refusals, these 2.
Yeah.
But they're home.
Yeah,
going the direct route. Lovely.
Yeah, really good. And this is the Italian rider Giulia Manoni, just going a little bit out of order as they did part company before they started on the course. But they were allowed to continue.
Naughty Douglas.
Very naughty. I think Douglas just wanted to set off on his own. You know, he said, this is when I'm setting off on the cross country. I don't need a rider. I know where I'm going.
Do you know who these 2 remind me of? I'm looking at them and I'm going, it looks like a mini Vittoria Panizzon and Borough Pennies.
Yeah, it really does, actually. Yeah, and it's just incredible to see these riders. They are aged between 11 and 16. Oh, no!
Naughty Douglas!
Very
naughty
naughty.
One.
Well,
that's it.
Oh dear, I don't think Douglas is going to be in the good books today. Oh dear. That's another rider coming off at that fence.
They were looking so good as well, those 2.
Yeah.
I'm slightly aghast because I thought they were looking fab.
But that was the case as well with the other rider that came off there. You know, they were going really well, and in fact, we were just commenting on how well they were going. And
well, it's all changed, but one thing that hasn't changed is the fact that France are still out in front with 96.4. The drop scores, though, have changed around, Hannah. That's what's interesting with the system, and I wish they'd use this still at the Olympic Games, because I find it so sad that you are allowed to substitute, but drop scores, I think, are so much easier to follow.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was the drop score of Valentin Quidet Eslan, he was clear inside the time. He's now a counting score. They've dropped the score of Mathieu Cuomo, who had those problems out on course right at the end of the course. Remember, at the second last, he ran into trouble and just slipped and ran into the second part of that final combination fence. But they still lead on 96.4. They're in gold. Germany not far behind. There's only 1 fence between gold and silver. Germany on 101.2 and Ireland in bronze on 116.3. It seems that they've got it in the bag, but Hannah, we know 1 fence, 2 fences can change the whole game.
It was really, it's just so tight there at the top. You know, there's 1 fence can change things, but of course there are 4 riders. There will be a drop score, again, but yeah, they just can't afford any mistakes in the show jumping phase tomorrow. It's actually quite a bit of a gap then down to fourth after Ireland. They are on 142.6. Belgium are that is in
Yep.
fourth place. And Ireland 116.3, and Germany are on 101.2, which it is 15 penalties, so it's also just 3 fences, so they just need to be strong in the show jumping phase as well. They just don't want to be picking up any more penalties if they can help it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also, let's not forget that there's only 3 teams, and that is gold, silver, and bronze, that have 4 riders, because the teams in 4th, 5th, 6th only have 3 riders, and then we're down to 2 rider teams, which of course won't count. I mean, they do get 1,000 points for their non-completing riders, but that is how influential the cross country has been. There are only 6 teams with 3 riders or more, but only 3 teams. So 3 teams with 4 riders, 3 teams with 3 riders in the top 6 of those teams going through into the show jumping tomorrow. Very, very, very interesting and very influential the cross country has been. It's done its job as it should, but the individual, well, that has not changed. It is my May Rinaldi with Boston de Verdun that will lead. They led after dressage. They added 5.2 time penalties to their dressage score. They've closed the gap. They don't have the breathing room that they did. They're on 28.4 going into the show jumping phase tomorrow, with Ireland's Ben Connor sitting in silver, with Cornerfest Fred on 30.3, and in the bronze medal position, just 0.1 behind Ben Connors, it is Hip Hop and Sophie Wiening on 30.4. But again, 30.6 in 4th, Hannah, and the 5th place not too far behind.
Yeah, it's just so tight there. There's hardly anything in it. I was just looking as well, actually. May Rinaldi did win a competition. It was a 2-star pony competition with this horse. And she, in fact, picked up 0.8 in the show jumping phase, so 2 seconds over there. And 0.8 here she could have, but not much more.
No, she is in a very unenviable position with those scores so close and so tightly packed at the top of the leaderboard. It could all change, and we're going to be covering that live tomorrow. The eventing show jumping starts tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock CEST, 9 o'clock BST. Hannah will be there to guide you through the final phase. It's going to be exciting, Hannah. Can you wait?
No, I can't. I think it's going to be such an exciting competition. Things will definitely be shaken up. But yes, 9 a.m. BST, 10 a.m. Central European time for the show jumping phase, for the final phase of this European Eventing Championships. It's been an incredible competition so far. From the dressage phase, the cross country, as you say, Spencer, really doing its job today, being hugely influential. And the drama is not going to stop there. The drama will continue tomorrow as well.
It certainly will. Will May Rinaldi win individual gold? Will Ben Connors win individual gold? You'll have to wait and see, and you can join Hannah for all the action tomorrow morning. I'll be back as well for the final day of dressage for the individual dressage cur top 18 going through from today's individual, and that will start at 9 o'clock CEST, 8 o'clock BST, and we hope you can join us. Find that on the FEI dressage page either on Facebook or YouTube, and find the show jumping equally for the eventing on the FEI Facebook page or on YouTube. Hannah, it's been a fantastic day. The sun has been shining. We have had an amazing time. You've been a star.
Yes, and you as well, Spencer. It's been fantastic to watch. It's been an incredible competition and a pleasure to watch it with you.
It's been an absolute dream team. I've loved every second. Hope you've enjoyed all of the action, and we look forward to joining you joining Hannah tomorrow and seeing where those medals go. But from us all here, from FEI for the European Championships in Strzegom, from Hannah and myself, goodbye.